welcome back to another episode of Murray Grace Spills the Tea. In this episode, we are talking about the forgotten trademarks from American Girl. These are the dolls that American Girl obtained the trademarks for, but they never came into existence, or were reinvented into the dolls that we know today. And some other trademarks, we still don't know if they're dead or if they will become a doll in the future. First category are dolls that were reinvented to be dolls that we know and love today. The first example being Estelle. But who is Estelle? We all know of Claudie, one of American Girl's newest historical characters who is from the 1920s who is trying to find her talent by practicing various forms of art. She grew up during the Harlem Renaissance and is surrounded by Black art, music, and culture, and in my opinion, this is an extremely important topic for American Girl to cover. American Girl, when they were brainstorming the first Black doll, they were considering making her from the 1920s during the Harlem Renaissance. However, they ultimately decided to release Addie, which was 30 years ago in 1993. What if I told you that there was another doll who was supposed to be the 1920s doll other than Claudie? Estelle was supposed to be a 1920s archaeologist doll, and I know this topic really well because I studied it for 4 years in university and wrote my thesis paper on women in ancient Egypt. But during the 1920s, there was this phenomenon called Egyptmania, which was sort of exploded as a result of King Tut's tomb being discovered in 1992 by Howard Carter and his team. But I do have a full, very in-depth video on this that I worked really hard on. So if you want to see the full in-depth details and what we knew about Estelle, make sure to check out this video that I have on the screen here. You can check it out in the link in the description, and everything we knew about Estelle. Now, you're probably wondering, what does Estelle look like? Well, she actually was released as one of the Costco ballerinas. So the Costco ballerinas, the other three were Truly Me dolls, but there was this one doll with blonde curly hair and blue eyes. This was supposed to be Estelle, but when they decided that they didn't want to release Estelle, they just kind of repackaged her as the ballerina doll. But if you want me to explain why I think this doll would be very controversial and some of the criticisms that people had about this doll even before she was released, make sure to go check out my video linked in the description because I do a full in-depth analysis of Estelle. But yeah, so Estelle was a trademark which is now dead that was going to be a doll from American Girl, but she was later replaced with Claudie. Now, I'm not saying that Estelle won't ever exist, because we do have dolls that represent time periods, or the same time period. So we have Murray Grace and Cecile and Kirsten representing the 1850s. We have Nenea and Molly and Emily all representing the 1940s. So it is possible that we could get to 1920 dolls in the future, but we'll never know until that happens. So let's just I don't know, keep our eyes peeled. I don't know how to describe that. So another trademark that got replaced with a different doll is EMORY von ZANT. Now, EMORY von ZANT was a trademark that existed for a long time. And if you know anything about American Girl trademarks, you know that if a doll is released or a trademark is released with a last name, that usually means that this doll is most likely going to be released. We saw that, and sometimes the names change. Like Covey was supposed to be like Kavika Sharma, and then they just changed it to Covey. Then Nikki and Isabel Hoffman were supposed to be Nikki and Isabel Cohen, but then they changed it. So sometimes the names do get changed, but usually when it gets a last name, it means it's going to be a reality. Now, people were theorizing that this was going to be a Girl of the Year, and she did become a Girl of the Year, but not with the same name. Most people theorize that she was Joss, the Girl of the Year for 2020, who loves surfing and cheerleading. At least that's what the rumors say. But I don't think we'll ever know because this trademark is technically dead. Next, we are moving on to names that have been abandoned, meaning American Girl has given up their rights to them, so theoretically this means American Girl won't release a character with this name. At least they don't have any current plans, but who knows what the future holds. Riley is a super interesting concept for me because I was able to find different fonts and logos that were trademarked, which in my opinion means that the doll was pretty far along in development, because this feels like towards the end of a doll's development. According to my source, which will be linked in the description box below, so if you want to go check that out, you totally can, Riley was purchased in 2013, but was dropped in 2015. It was also renewed twice, which shows they were seriously considering using this name for a while. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with trademarks in American Girl, just because American Girl trademarks a name, it doesn't guarantee it will be turned into a doll. I would have to say there's about maybe a 70% chance, in my opinion, just based on my personal experience, but maybe it's more like 50. It's hard to say. But not every name that gets trademarked becomes a doll. They kind of reserve names as placeholders until they either make the doll a reality or come up with a different name or abandon the character altogether. It just essentially gives them a little bit of protection so another toy company doesn't create a doll just like it before they release the doll. My first thought was, is this Tenny? But the timeline doesn't fit too much with it because it takes about 2 years for American Girl to develop a Girl of the Year doll. Historicals take longer than that because they require more research. But Girl of the Years need to be up to date with current trends, so they made them relatively recently. So about the 2-year mark, maybe a year and a half. And since Tenny was supposed to be the Girl of the Year for 2017, this would mean that she should have been developed or started to be developed in 2015. So 2013 would be pretty early. Riley is a really nice name, and I wonder if she will ever be a doll. But do you have any ideas of what she could have been? Next, we are talking about the dolls that are unknown. Have they been canceled? Are they going to be new dolls? No one other than some of the employees at American Girl know for sure. But these are the dolls that, in my opinion, do not have concrete evidence either way if they're going to exist or not. If you watched either my What Happened to Ning video, which was about the rumored 1800s Asian gold rush doll, or my video on What Happened to Fahari, which was rumored to be the first Muslim American Girl doll that was going to be released in the World by Us line, then you will know that sometimes these websites say a trademark is dead, but it isn't always accurate. For example, which I have used on my channel before, so if you've heard this already, I am very sorry, but if this is new information to you, this might be interesting. But Bryant was supposed to be a dead trademark, and then he showed up in the Welly Wisher line a few months later. So theoretically, Riley could exist too, but her trademark has been dead for years, so I think it is less likely, because Bryant was only dead for a few months according to untrustworthy trademark websites. But if you want more insight on this whole topic of bringing back dead trademarks, please watch either my What Happened to Ning video or What Happened to Fahari video, because I discuss it more there. But here are some names of possible future dolls. Estelle is a doll I believed I talked about in my Fahari video because it is rumored that she could be a World by Us doll. Her name origins are Spanish, so she could be an either Latina or Hispanic doll, which would be interesting to see how she would differ from Maritza, who is currently in the World by Us line. But what other information do we have about her? Not much, but the sources I obtained this information from, American Girl Doll News, does a pretty good job at reporting characters that later become true. For example, in this article, there is Maritza and Bryant, who later became dolls. Fahari is also on this list. Trilby is a doll I haven't talked about yet, but when you Google American Girl Trilby, hats randomly show up, so I think it means it's a type of hat, but I'm not too sure. This is from another source from American Girl Doll News, and in the article, it accurately predicted Blinks, Corinne's baby brother. According to the article, the name means sings with thrills and is Italian. So maybe this was the Girl of the Year for 2024 former name. The main rumor is that the name of the Girl of the Year for 2024 will be Italian and her name will be Lila Manetti. And in most cases, if they're given a last name, it is pretty serious. So Lila Manetti is a top contender for the new Girl of the Year, but we'll have to wait and see. Avey is a name that appeared in the American Girl Doll News article along with the name Claudie. We all know Claudie became a reality, so why not Avey? But if Avey is real, what would she be like? I have mentioned on my channel before that this name has Spanish origins, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she'll be Irish herself. But is she grilled by us? Is she a historical girl of the year? Who knows? Averly is an interesting name, and I'll explain why. First, we have a timeline of her name. Again, my sources will be linked in the description. But in 2018, her name was given a second extension, which in my mind means they were seriously considering this name. But in January of 2019, they abandoned the name. But another interesting aspect of her name is how close Averly is to Avey, causing me to wonder, is this the same doll? I seriously doubt that American Girl would release dolls with the names or very similar names that close together. So are they considering either name, so they trademarked both of them and decided to drop Averly? Who knows? But those were the trademarks of the names I know about, including repurposed dolls, abandoned names, and unknown trademarks. So hopefully this clears up some rumors, and maybe it will start some. I don't know. If you want to see more videos on American Girl doll news and rumors, and gossip and tea and all that stuff, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to be the first to be updated when I have new American Girl news, tea, or gossip, make sure to go follow my Instagram, because I always post there first. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.